Yes? What do you want to know? I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecile cop-off. It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Typical street gang mentality. So we've let the Union make a mockery of law enforcement here, and now it's come to its natural conclusion. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez than who has to. It's an orphan district, in other words. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite a brouhaha at the 57th, I can tell you that. Time to settle it, they said. Cop off. But I assure you, I am not their finest or toughest, with 102 cases solved. What I am is least interested in a pissing competition.
So he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary.
Yes, I am an unrepentant spoilsport. Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist.
A tremble comes over you. Another after effect of ethanol poisoning, perhaps. Feels like leaves do when they rustle in the breeze. Somewhere far away, below the turbine. The 41st and the 57th. The lieutenant was right. It's not about who gets what's north. It's about who doesn't. He opens one hand and looks at it. A moment passes.
Which school do you subscribe to? Mambo or Jambo? Hangovers do give officers superpowers. Many drink only to receive the gift. It is good to have a para-detective in a labor dispute. I can see why they sent you. Should we go? Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it. What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. Then you are in luck, because we are in the midst of a major strike by the dock workers union. Maybe more than that. The Union clearly wants a piece, not just of the industrial harbor, but the Wild Pines Corporation itself. I expect the case itself to be less challenging than navigating these community matters. This district isn't used to the RCM's presence, and the Union rarely overplays its hand, as it appears to have done in this case. Ah, yes, the case brief you missed. Now I remember. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. That's us, the Revachol Citizens Militia. We're the police in this city. Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. That's the case. Uncover and arrest the killer. You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? There's no reason to wing anything. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received. During that, a security guard worked. They didn't identify. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM. Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. Good. Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's correct.
That makes him a Beano-clad, completely uncopped material, if you say so yourself.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome. That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul, so was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting. You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Revacholier. No.
The lieutenant nods.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about. I can't say that it does, no. When I need to think, I just use my notebook.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook and idly thumbs through a few pages. You're super lucid, yet psychedelic. You don't need office supplies to connect to your nervous system. You're special.
Good. Let's change the subject.
Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. When the wind ruffles the cloak, you can most definitely see a white rectangle on its back.
Yes, it's probably yours. It bears the RCM insignia, and you have a habit of being careless with your equipment. You could probably make the jump. You look like you've done some track and field in your day.
The wind is aggressive up here. The lieutenant looks at the enormous crane towering in the distance, over the container yard. That machine is a Kvalsund 1020 HK.
Is it? Kvalsund makes a lot of heavy equipment, but this is phenomenal, even for them. But I digress. We were focusing on your cloak here. I was under the assumption we could ask the leader of this union to help us get this body down. This is why we're here, right? Or it could be that we are just exploring. The cloak? I do think it's yours, yes. As to whether you should go for it? Well, it doesn't seem too dangerous. 2 meter stops? Whenever you're ready to do it, I'll be right behind you.
Tarpaulin cloak with possible RCM markings is still caught on the railing. As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you felt so alive, alert, capable. Must be the adrenaline.
I knew you could do it. My climbing down might not have been as disco as your jump, but at least we can explore the harbor now.
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete, the noise of the harbor rushes back in. Numerous empty wine bottles glisten in the rain. Someone partied really hard here. Well, they went through 6 bottles of potent Pilsner, 3 bottles of Commodore Red, and almost 4 packs of cigarettes.
Well, yes, I think we can say with relative confidence that it was you. Yes, this looks pretty advanced, all right. For now, let's just move on.
This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads, René Arnaud. Listen, it's okay to take a few minutes to yourself. Sit down and have a breather.
If you must. But please hurry. We are pretty easy to spot up here.
Nothing incriminating catches your eye.
Let's get going. The entire neighborhood can see us up here.
An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, tokens unavailable due to strike. Use change. On second glance, someone has forgotten to properly close one of the drawers.
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave their paperwork lying around like this.
The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a well-organized selection of brown folders. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, from Muindi, Grad, and even Ilmara, and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol. Couron, Coal City, La Delta, and Jamrock are listed among the many districts where the imports are being sold. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Hundreds of documents containing logistical data. Two kinds of transactions stand out. Materials coming into Revachol from the outside world, and the same material. You already went through all of these. Look how blurry all the lines on these papers are. How unwieldy your own willpower is to yourself. You're like an absurdist Samaran monk, focusing through not focusing. The drawer slides. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of white antlers spread to the corners of the cover. Because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism, they represent a society in accord with the natural world and at the same time above it. A shameful way to treat a former king, even one as underwhelming as Friesel. Because Friesel was incompetent, foolish, and cruel. In short, the embodiment of everything the communards wished to overthrow. It's satire, you see. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. Just column after column of closely set text, interrupted occasionally by little doodles in black and white. After rifling the pages with your thumb several times, you return to the table of contents. The magazine is divided into several sections. International developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fumée. This was his way of describing the way the rigid, crystalline structures of capitalist ideology turned to smoke under communism. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée, unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel. La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today. Yours in struggle, the editors.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarders Union. They're probably bankrolling the thing.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations between the EPIS nations and the Free State of Semenine. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border, something about bear wrestling in Samara, book riots in Yugograd. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Bear wrestling. Flip back to that. It seems to be part of a new public fitness initiative in the People's Republic of Samara, SRV, devised and promoted by none other than President Kanajinsky himself. According to this extremely credulous account, Uncle Sport, as he's affectionately known to his people, has recently decreed bear wrestling the national sport of the SRV. Based on the description in this article, he appears to be an extremely competent and democratically elected president. It's quite straightforward. A standard match features one man, or in some cases woman, against one bear. 2 competitors, 1 ring, 5 rounds, or until incapacitation. According to the SRV's Ministry of Information, the program has been a tremendous success. Public support stands at 87%, and youth obesity and alcoholism rates are down 12% and 7% respectively. That's very much the idea. President Kaczynski has long maintained that a strong body is the best defense against capitalist aggression.
The Samaran People's Republic? No, I should expect not. Why do you ask? They're quite the spectacle, as I understand. I've heard they make the people in the front rows wear plastic sheets. On account of the blood, you see.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns on you that Kunst und Kultur must mean arts and culture. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief artist spotlight featuring a local artist identified only as CS. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled Tip Top Tournée, a critical Mazovian perspective. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief Q&A, made all the briefer by the subject's evident hostility to her interviewer. The actual article is surprisingly light on details, but after skimming a page or two, you gather that it has something to do with motor carriage racing. If you don't follow it, you only ever hear about the ludicrous sponsorships and obscene death toll. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few of the more colorful drivers. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature about all the politically problematic aspects of Tip-Top Tourney. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsorships, and then there's the practically criminal emphasis on deadly motor crashes. Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines: Nasteb Encolada Bernal and Exilus Buka. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental as the joy of racing others around a track, is reduced to an advertising opportunity. Thus, the so-called tourney becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. Your discount laundry detergent racing against a pack of Astra cigarettes, or even a frita. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, spectacular violence, audiences would quickly lose interest. At the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really watching for. You see, one cannot avoid the conclusion that Tip-Top Tourney is simply the apotheosis of spectacular entertainment under capitalism.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? A certain kind of young man reads 1 or 2 books and suddenly thinks he understands the secret structures of reality. If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race. I'd take whatever they write with a large grain of salt.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring unqualified support for the dockworkers' strike. You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. A city in revolt. First we take Martinez, then we take La Delta. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer G. Martin accusing the owner of the Capeside apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of international capital or their mucilaginous allies in the coalition. Judging from the context, it's something very large and fundamental. You should probably know about it already, honestly. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. A rusting control panel with several knobs. 2 buttons marked Marche and Arrête are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. A container is attached to its hook block. Marche. On. Arrête. Off. rusting marsh. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. And, with a surprisingly quiet thunk, the crane places the container down. The harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane can rest again, now that its purpose has been fulfilled. Moving this container, of course. For this purpose it was built. For this purpose it has acted, and now it will rest.
I can't see how that was worth the ruckus, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit was satisfying.
The crane does not return to its original position. It does not move at all. Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many in the yard.
You do? Because I don't. There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? You just picked one out because you wanted to interact with a cargo container. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to get the body down from the tree.
No reply. The knock produces a hollow ring of metal. You attempt to turn the handle, to no avail. The doors seem to be mechanically locked. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions with some puzzlement.
Yes?
Container, container, I'll turn you nice and red. Container, container, put the logos on.
The accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi, from the vanishing peninsula of Ubisunt on Muindi.
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard. Everard, 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 he looks after everyone. Huh? Well, hey there. How can I help you, mister? I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and folks gotta eat. Just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on the scabbing kind, if you know what I mean, mister. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know. Lots of containers here have nothing in them. They're just waiting to be loaded up.
Told you.
Yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm Leonard, by the way. Leonard Bellick. But everyone calls me Leo. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town, and Mr. Edgar's right-hand man when Mr. Everett is away. Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. Them are real nice to suckle on once the dinner is done and me and the missus sit down beside the radio. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes I am. Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years she was gone, and when she came back, she was all fancy and lawyerly. But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood, knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the community one day, I'm sure. If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so. And she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years, she has.
Yes, this place really seems to run like clockwork. Keep it up, Leo.
Well, thanks a lot. Coming from you, it means a lot, really. Sometimes I feel some of the guys don't really get how much I bust my ass for them here. But you guys are alright. Oh yes, born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was about 10 then, too old to lose my accent then. People say us Ubis are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you to know there was never any of that where I come from. No sir, those are just nasty rumors.
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them. Sure, mister. About what? Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha! We haven't worked for 2 months now.
So no one is working?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard is in his office, where he always is. And Jean-Luc is guarding the gate. But Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Oh, I'm not really supposed to talk about that. That's union business. Him and his boy stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling him to take some time off. I guess the boys got a bit too rowdy and had to let out some steam. I don't really know the details. That's just how boys are, you know. I haven't been in a fight since I was in middle school.
Easy, Leo. Let's keep this on the hard ease.
I remember I was the runt of the class. The bigger boys always used to pick on me. You see, I had a bit of a temper back in the day. flew off the handle like nobody's business. But Mr. Everett and his brother always came to help. Once they beat old Noel Becker so bad he needed stitches on his head. Noel never started another fight with anyone after this. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar are real nice guys, mister. You should go talk to Mr. Everett. I'm sure you'll be good friends. He's friends with everyone around here. Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an awfully nice fellow, he is. Him and his brother are both nice fellows. They've lived their entire lives in this here neighborhood. Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Made Martinez what it is today. Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar and I went to the same school we did when we were boys. Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. In his office, of course. Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised to see you. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing. He simply stares at you. With a mixture of expectation and impatience, well bottled.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everett Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents me from getting up. You understand?
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair, on the other hand, looks like a torture device.
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be good, he thinks. I'll do my best. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse in a civilized manner, as equals. Take a seat. I insist. Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help a representative of the Revachol Citizens Militia today?
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world. It's violating your backside.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners, it pains me to say. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager. Go ahead, take it.
Wow, that's 25 real. That's good money. You need it.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work, that boy is.
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Is there anything you'd like to say to me? Or... Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically oversized novelty check to a cafeteria manager. But, sure, if that's what's cool nowadays. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking for that lost gun.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear is an echo. Lost gun, lost gun, lost gun. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
Are you all right, Harry? You say you got this, but you seem a little anxious to me. Don't be. Everything's going to be all right. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
It was loaded. There were 2 bullets in it. You always keep at least 2 barrels loaded.
Officer, we will deal with this later. We don't need Mr. Clare's help with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
Who does this guy think you are? Ronnie the Rookie? You ain't worried about no lost gun, or unpaid bill, or forgotten name. You're the bad cop. You're probably more corrupt than him. Fuck yes. You're part of the old guard, the ancient guard, the most corrupt, unholy cops in the land. Chill out like the black dragon you are. The fat man does the same, sinking deeper into his chair than one would think is physically possible. He seems to be enjoying your little display. Good. Now lean in with some corruption.
That we do, Harry. Let them say what they will about you and me. We're both born fighters. I do want you to feel at home, Harry, truly. But you'll have to excuse the humble accommodations.
That's it. Now kick back and add a final flourish for dignity.
You strike me as a reasonable man, Harry. I like that in a law man. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? What can Everard Clare do for you?
I think we'd like to ask you a few questions. Don't you think so, Detective?
Somehow you managed to get yourself out of this one. Now quick, keep the momentum up. Ask questions.
Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in Martinez. I know everything that goes on around here, and I would love to discuss it with you. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand You need to interview me? But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean, if we could just calmly talk, exchange information, we could blow this thing wide open.
Yes, that sounds good. Let's do that.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines, incredibly talented at opening doors.
I'm not sure I understand. If you're asking us to break down someone's door, it's not going to happen.
Come now. I just need you to go open a little door for me and leave it unlocked. A simple thing. Absolutely nothing shady about it.
Does this jiggling ooze think he's going to use you? He's got another thing coming. Play his game, son, with your eyes peeled. He's going to slip up, and when he does, you're going to come out on top.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extraordinary physique you do. You look like you could run around all day.
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what will it be, Harry? Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. Nothing for you to worry about. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels feel no one is watching, they start acting foolishly. Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss business with you. Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Of course, Harry, I understand. But if that's the case, I don't think we'll ever find your gun. Even worse, we won't be able to speak like equals about the murder. Perhaps this was just bad timing for you. Know that you can always come back to me. I really hope you do. For your sake, my sake, and for your gun's sake too.
Yes, we both understand what you meant.
This may be the only way, he thinks. I won't hold it against you. In fact, we probably should reconsider later.
Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities. You call me Everard, I call you Harry.
That's what the hanged corpse called you. Harry.
My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic science fiction amnesiac cop, aren't you? What are the odds of that?
I think the odds of that are very low.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble, I could help you out. With my big fat folder.
It's just a brown folder. You can't make out what's written on it.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about his lost identity right now. Ah, this? My friends in your organization gave it to me, Harry.
I find that very suspicious. May I have a look?
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry.
As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a real RCM folder. It's just another one of those brown folders you saw in the file cabinet.
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau people are absolutely corrupt. You should do something about them.
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your actions here in Martinez.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man, so is there anything else I can do for you, Harry?
A pity. The mystery of you will have to remain a mystery for the time being.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. My dear Harry, there are literally millions of containers in this harbour. I couldn't possibly remember what's in all of them. Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a precious resource, and I don't have enough of it to count containers with you.
Smooth talking. Maybe that's the way to go about opening the container. You should at least try convincing it.
Harry, honestly, I'm just relieved you didn't get a hernia. A man your age... You did look like you were gonna collapse and die when I told you about your lost gun. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. They're turning every stone, searching every playground, asking kids, grandmas, everyone. Your gun will be found, Harry. Let me assure you of that. It's just a matter of time and effort.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage. Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only way to do it.
Harry! I was only trying to be tactful. A lost gun is a dangerous thing. I can't have it around in my neighborhood. Kids could be playing gun roulette with it as we speak. Teenage gangs could be arming themselves. Get a hold of yourself, Harry.
I assure you we are working on locating the missing sidearm as well.
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. That's excellent news. Looks like we have a friendly gun-finding competition on our hands.
You might have noticed there's one hanging on a tree behind the hostel cafeteria.
Oh my. Don't take this question personally, but why would I get involved in this matter?
Mr. Clare, the man was hanged with a cargo belt, a steel-reinforced cargo belt. It's safe to assume the Union had something to do with the murder. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
I can certainly see how having him up there might start affecting some real estate values. But of course, all joking aside, I am going to help you. Jean-Luc, my boy, I'm sending 2 police officers down. They have a dead body in a tree problem they need help with. Namely, they need it to be taken down. And Jean, please take it easy with the race science. That's a yes to getting the body down, no to the race science. You can find Jean-Luc down at the gates. He's the big impressive one. You know, tattoos, muscles, ethnic looking. Can't miss him. Great guy. Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. You're one of us now. A real red and white Union man. Take care, Harry.
Yes?
No response. He just arches his brow.
Have you tried concentrating on something other than your personal affairs?
There is a sudden, harsh edge to his voice, like he's tired of hearing about your personal affairs.
Really? You look fine to me. This psychodrama is unbecoming of an officer. Then you should consider seeking medical attention. You can use the radio in my kinema to call your station's Lazareth. Was there anything else you wanted?
Oh, hey, mister. I knew you'd be back to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far before they're aching to get back. And lots of folk really did keep coming back. No trouble at all, mister. No trouble at all. It's...
You're back before the cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were...
Scab?
What did he just call you? A... Oh no, not this again. You just got away from that fucking kid.
A kind of a worm, content with mere survival. They come, they want to do our job for shittier pay, screwing over both themselves and us. Everybody loses. Beats me. Somewhere in the ground, I think. Gotta be bloody stupid or freaking evil to scam. Or I guess scared, maybe. But scared of what? Of who? Personally, I'd rather beg than scab. If the gentleman shouting on the street came begging, maybe they'd have gotten something. We've explained the matters, but they don't listen. This lot would be reasonable and go home if the big guy wasn't riling them up all the time. I was just messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, "Let us cop for less money." Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the wild north? Come to see the strife? The mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would noble workers resort to such a thing? Unless they were pushed, of course. Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. He was an agent of the opposition, attempting to undermine our honorable efforts. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men, with all sorts of skills.
He means a more violent faction could easily take care of such a thing.
Understood. This has been of limited use. Still, thank you.
No problem. I wish the best to you in your search. Sure, I'm glad it's not my search.
Nobody betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
Are you admiring my morphophysiology? It must be frightening to stand in the shadow of this racial pinnacle. Be calm, Sandwich. You are not in danger, because you are not a threat to me. What is this androgynous display of sexual maturity?
You hear your heart pumping, fast and irregular. Your joints ache and you feel old, but still alive, somehow.
Stop it! You are embarrassing yourself in front of this woman and your pedomorphic friend. This display of weakness may appeal to older women with a stronger maternal instinct, but it is a liability here on Battlefield Martinez.
Jean-Luc, his body is betraying his degeneracy pretty hard. Maybe you can ask him to leave.
You have succumbed to Al Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. Yes, Al Ghul. Al Ghul is an ancient Ilmaran poison. A parasitic fungus that has colonized your race. It is a trick the desert pygmies played on you for humiliating them and stripping them of their land. Correct, my small skull servant.
It's not good.
It's like a rat crawled into your stomach, got drunk and drowned.
No, you don't. You need to get another drink. Occidental Haplogroup B4 is done giving orders around here. The influence of the ham sandwich race is waning. Begging for help, attempting to pass fear for cooperation. How far the Occidental Haplogroup has fallen. You were once a noble and powerful race. You gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war like missiles and aerostatic aircraft. You made great gains in metallurgy, race theory, and statecraft. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Khoikos. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with sadness and with frivolous pop culture. You will be superseded. Isn't that right, babe?
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
Enough with this begging. You should leave the stage of history with dignity by inviting the other races to a great world war. Bring your troops to the Simonine Islands and to Boogie Street and we will pulverize you. When you are gone, we will build a museum for you. The walls will be lined with bottles of Al Ghul, your beloved beverage. Inside, we will store the odes to homosexuality you call art, and your microcephalic skulls. Racists are generally not very good examples of their race.
Welcome to Revachol. You hear him yell at a redhead woman visiting the fritter nearby.
I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features. This should dispel any doubt.
True, that is a noble cranium, but you got a hard noggin yourself.
You exhibit forward projection of the jaw, indicative of schizophrenia and sexual inaccountability. From a purely aesthetic standpoint, the dimple in your jaw makes you look like a baby. This is not craniometry, just an observation. It is impossible to see any more of your bone structure. It is covered in the ravages of Al Ghul. From what remain of your features, I can see fleshy lips, baldness of the head, and long arms relative to lower limbs. This leads me to conclude you are not a police officer. You are a common criminal. An offspring of murderers and sailors from Sur-la-Clé and Vesper, and possibly even the degenerate sheep herders of Ubi. Your racial heritage is uninteresting. It is the same as all Revacholians. Your parents and their parents made the decision to reproduce while under the influence of Al Ghul. That is the only reason you are here.
He's right there. It's almost impossible to get it on unless you're both drunk. It's too scary when people are sober.
Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront International Capital, which is something your race naivistic communists never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. It is lax and moronic. Jam. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth culture, have you not? You have picked them up from rock and roll songs? Offshoots of the Seminoles people invented disco while having sex under the influence of cocaine. It is a shame upon my race. But what is done is done. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Seminoles race. The South Island race, haplogroup A4A. We are the rightful masters of the Insulindian archipelago. We descend from the Areopagites of ancient Pericarnassus and arrived here 4,000 years ago. Millennia before you. We are the future. That is all you need to know. I am a descendant. The narrow streets of Ulimbuir are with me in my genetic dreams. I see young Seminoles women walk into the grey mass on Ile de Fantôme, waiting on immaculate conception from the pale. No, I have heard about it on the radio. I'm from Couronne, and no, it is not just in Revachol. The city is central to the Seminoles strategy. Spreading through its trade networks, our culture will dominate the world. You have heard enough about our phylogenetic secrets for today. You have extinction to come to terms with. Think upon it.
I don't think anything about this. We are wasting our time having this conversation.
Your pedomorphic friend is right. You should leave here with your tail between your legs, contemplating race extinction. I am an immovable obstacle.
He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your pathetic cup. I have no interest in it.
Does he strike you as the kind of man who puts mugs into trash?
So it was. You surmounted the harbor wall in a display of athletic prowess to reach my superior, then had him give me an order. I salute your cunning, and I will remove the body from the tree with my bare hands.
You're so noble, Measurehead.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on the bridge. That someone needs to be you. Both of you.
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it on ourselves. I can live with a compromise.
Listen to your little friend. He is wise in his childlike way. His mysterious race may yet prove fierce competition to my heroic haplogroup. Babe, see that they stay here the whole time.
The woman's gaze follows Measurehead as he leaves.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Cool. I like men with guns and power. I'm Katya, by the way.
You hear that? That sound. He's breaking something.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Everott's lapdogs! Is this where it's at now? The RCM is for sale!
And who are you? What is your business here? Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you?
A shrill laughter interrupts you, echoing across Martinez. It's Kuno. Then, the man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself. You have sided with Ray's victory today. Farewell, ham sandwich. You are a Union man from now on.
Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then, past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone. And so are those people. Why did you come here? Why are you still here? And where's the dealer? You have to get back to work. That's all you have now.
Yes?
old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece, secured and mounted in the air with the aid of numerous ropes and rods. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the Squanderer, the greatest of the Philippian kings of Revachol, son of Philip II, the opulent, father of Philip IV, the insane." As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chest piece. Something with great kinetic energy seems to have impacted the cuirass, around where the heart is. A bullet?
Okay, I can't see it, but I take your word for it. Well, Martinez is riddled with bullet holes. This place saw a lot of action during the revolution, but the statue is recently renovated, so maybe a joke? Target practice or a political statement? Why not? What this shows us is guns aren't too uncommon here, and people still shoot them, sometimes at kings.
The king stands high above you, surveying the bay, mute and indifferent to your sightings. What did he do? You have no idea what you did. High above you, the king stands triumphant. The small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along to something on her radio. A photograph is clutched in her hands, and there is a warm smile on her face. It's the warmth of a winter night's fire. Maybe she could give you comfort and shelter, some cigarettes and food money. Maybe she's your... Nothing. Her smile just keeps widening. Her hair is gray like lead. No, this one is a monster in disguise. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her.
Wait. She's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone. Why? I just told you why.
Welcome to Revachol.
Don't you welcome to Revacholme. My grandfather came here from a 3,000-year-old racist isolationist culture, while your ancestors came to this island a mere 300 years ago. Every school of thought and government has failed in the city, but I love it nonetheless. It belongs to me as much as it belongs to you. It's men like you who keep Revachol divided, making it that much harder for everyone to climb out of this post-war limbo.
Oh, come on, man. I just said welcome to Revachol. It's a lorry driver thing.
I know exactly what you meant. You think my kind doesn't belong here, that I should watch myself and behave. But you see, I'm an officer of the RCM. It's actually my job to make sure you behave. I would advise you to remember that.
Silence. The air between them becomes tense. Your partner needs backup. Now's your moment to shine.
You two make a cute couple. You know that?
The lieutenant exhales and resumes his regular calmness.
Whatever you say, officers.
He smells of heavy motor oils and his breath of high tar content cigarettes. Probably.
Oh man, that's great. Look at that guy go. Haven't seen anything that funny in a while. God damn. Thanks for that, but no, it's not mine. Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the dock workers are on strike, so it's a sit and wait on your ass situation. The strike? Oh, they've been at it for a while. A month, 2 months maybe. But this here is just the last week or so. Apples. Yeah, apples? I take it you had other questions?
He's given you the runaround. Let's be honest, you were bested. A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crowned with wavy rays. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
There he is, in front of Rita, smoking nervously, hoping it's over. He was acting tough before. This probably scared him a bit. Who knows when it will come in handy? A slightly scared, racist lorryman.
Looking for something? Oh, not much anymore. Apples. Yeah,
He's given you the runaround.
Bastards! We have a right to work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down. Good. We're fighting for a cause here.
Right to work! Right to work!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Rights of people. Rights of workers. To have gainful employment. To make a salary. And feed their families. Maybe you should ask them the questions. Like, why we're not allowed to make a living here.
Shame on you!
We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scott.
When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we have the right to work!
When the man moves around, you perceive some serious abs underneath his tight-fitting shirt. This man is in shape. There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his.
Honest men and women with rights to work, to be useful, not toys for corporate interests. We came here to help the harbor run smoothly in time of crisis. If union fucks don't want work, they ought to let in those who do want work.
I have a question. Why do all these men follow your leadership?
You think they follow because I'm big and loud? No. They follow the rules of the market, the rules of the economy, because they were
given a job to do!
You've been talking to him for quite a while now. Something is off with this guy. Ask him where he's from.
What's it to you? Am I a suspect? Done no crimes. I only fight for the rights of people. We're all workers, right? Workers stick together. Came from the eminent domain, in Jamrock. Backgrounds in odd jobs, heavy lifting, cargo hauling, bouncer work. I know the drill.
A monstrous shadow high above the fire traps of the domain. The 881 motorway running over this district of Jamrock. Concrete pillars rise up from the midst of the dilapidated wooden houses. On the horizon, barely visible, the hazy machinery of the harbor. Life in the domain is even worse off than in Martinez. The cold air is stiff from the fumes of the motor carriages and lorries roaring overhead. Below, broken down, battered people mill on the dusty streets with no purpose. Yet amongst them, there is no sight of this man. Nowhere.
Yeah? What makes you say that? They know me. That's bullshit. We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates. Main gate's locked. Would take Heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the secretary's office. Door's locked. The guard's blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Yeah? That giant up there, on the bridge you talked to. Head measurer. Won't let the workers by. The access panel is right behind him. Bad. Standing on a narrow bridge, he's got a strategically advantageous position. And he's trained. I don't know how the Union has a trained killer up there. But that one's no joke, and my men are tired and hungry. They're workers, not fighters. Why don't you go arrest them instead? I'm sure they've done plenty of criminal shit. They have that look.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then we charge.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint-Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo.
Just ask me if you need anything from Saint Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Duramine, Magnesium, and Hypnogamma. I don't know. Let's see. Nosafed is a nasal spray. Duramine is a really good painkiller. Magnesium is a dietary supplement. Hypnogamma is... I don't really know what Hypnogamma is. I guess it makes you feel less shit. It's recommended to use after lots of partying, studying, or exercising. No, sorry. I'm not like a doctor or anything.
Nosafed heals +1 health. Duramine heals +3 health. Magnesium heals +1 morale. Hypnogamma heals +3 morale.
Saint Baptiste, you know, the pharmaceuticals company. Saint Baptiste Pharmaceuticals, the one that sells meds out of Saint Baptiste. That one. There.
A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol bottles line the shop wall, inviting you closer. The bottles wink at you in the light. The smokes too glitter in their wrapping. It's like looking into a kind of heaven. Your knees are weak. There, in that dark green glass, all in vain. The great flowing river of warmth, wine, alcohol, beer, alcohol, love, alcohol.
I'm obliged to inform you that both alcohol and cigarettes damage your health, but I guess you already know that.
Know this, you will never finish your alcohol quest if you don't buy beautiful alcohol.
The pale aged vodka is special, I guess. It's stored in pale for a couple of years, which makes it super expensive and super strong. You know.
Don't worry your pretty little head about it. Let's concentrate on what's important here.
I mean, I already said it'd hurt you. I don't know what else they do.
Substances give powerful bonuses to your main stats at the cost of damage to your health or morale. Cigarettes raise your intellect while damaging your health. Alcohol raises physique while damaging your morale. Use medication, like Nosafed and magnesium, to counteract the negative effects of substances. Note: consuming substances can have unforeseen consequences for you.
No, Frit only sells legal drugs, like the law says.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents.
Oh, that's the tear machine. It's a machine for tear. You know, you find tear outside, like bottles or whatever, and put it in the machine, then it gives you money. You need a bag, I guess. We used to have some, but we gave them all out, so... Feel free to use it if you find a bag, though. I'm sure there are some out there, somewhere. Welcome to Frit. Feel free to look around or something. Everything is out on the shelves. I don't know. Frit? A 7 to 11 grocery store. I think they think that the extra tea makes it funkier. It doesn't. Okay. I'm not really supposed to be chatting to anyone, but... A warehouse? I don't know. Maybe. I don't really care what Frit does.
She looks up from under her brow.
Fine. Frit doesn't have a warehouse. Just a little back room here. Okay? I don't really know anything. I mean, I know it's there, but I haven't seen it, so... Not really. No. I didn't know him at all. I don't know, really long. I don't know.
No need to worry. It's just standard procedure for us to ask around. If you hear anything, let us know, okay?
Okay. Uh-huh. Reality? You mean, what reality? Economic reality, or...? I don't really know anything. I mean, I'm 15. Yeah, that's why I'm working my arse off in Frit. So I guess, like, that's economic. I don't know. What about it? We're in Frit? As mankind, or as a nation, or in a good place? I mean, science is doing great, and this radio computer thing seems to be kinda big. I don't know. I don't know. Look at the clock. It's right behind you on the wall.
The clock shows the time at 10:09. The hands seem to be still. It's apparent the clock doesn't work.
When ordinary people take over the government and demand democracy. Yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. At history, I mean. Our government? Or do you mean something else? Sorry, I really need to finish this article. Cool.
You missed a good show before. A kid came by and completely fucked the tree to pieces.
He fucked the tree up! Fucked it good! It was porno!
Shoot that shit at Kuno, Pigonaut. You found Kuno's secret door to Kuno's secret shack. It was closed for 5,000 years. How the fuck did you get in? Shit. Get the fuck out of here. You can't do that.
He can't do that, Kuno. He's trying to fuck at you again.
Pigs can't displace. Can't do that teleport shit. How did you like it in there, pig old boy? Kuno's got a lot of cool shit there, right? Oh, that? Kuno decapitates pigs. That's just a Kuno demo tape.
What?
What is this shit? Fucking on yourself. This is weird level shit. Kuno doesn't go there.
Fuck your shit back to normal. What is this?
It's a vitamin pig. Don't you know anything? Yeah, it's the mag. You fucking need that shit to stay on top of your game. Kuno goes through like a tube a day, rips mag like a motherfucker, and you could use a battle.
Oh, don't teach him, Kuno. He's gonna use it against you, Kuno.
You're not getting this, pig. It completely takes away the hangover. It's like you didn't do anything. Like you stayed home playing with your choo-choo.
Fuck you, pig. Don't do mag. You're gonna OD and you're gonna fucking die.
That's where Kuno gets his daily hit of electric. Kuno Shazam. Kuno rides the fucking lightning in there, pig.
Bet you'd like to ride the lightning too, wouldn't you? You feel tired and old, but you could have that sparkle in your eyes.
Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kingdom. The fuck about it? Kuno doesn't give a shit about the armor. Kuno's fuck gimp's got one big thing wrong with him. He's a fucking mutant. Look at him. Fucking growth hormone shit. He's a giant. The armor's too big for any man. Kuno doesn't give a shit about that freak armor. Kuno threw that shit away.
Oh, come on. He's just pretending that he doesn't care because he's too small for the armor.
Kuno tried to get the helmet on. It was too big. Kuno kicked that shit in the sea, rugby style. That shit means nothing to Kuno. Yeah, that shit means nothing to Kuno. Kuno doesn't give a shit about material shit. Kuno's a fucking monk. You wanna fuck on someone about that armor? Go fuck the mustached union fuck. The jolly troubadour shit at the gate. Yeah, cock and boot. You know that jolly union cow fucker? Came around talking about cows or some shit? Came around pretending like he cares about cows?
He means Manana, the laid-back striker at the gates.
Yeah, he's the one you want to talk to. He's fucking crazy about that armor shit. Coming here pretending like he likes cows. Trying to catch a peep at Kuno's armor.
Yes, this troubadour has it. You can feel it.
Fuck are you talking about? What is this contusion shit?
He says you're stupid, Kuno. They want to make you stupid again.
Oh, did Kuno make your shit sniffing harder? Obstruction of shit sniffing? This is Kuno's kingdom. Kuno fucking rules here.
You hear the lieutenant hum.
You're testing Kuno's patience here.
Get lost,
Yeah? The kingdom of Kuno? The fuck do you want with it? Yeah, Kuno doesn't know shit about that. That shit is beneath Kuno. Listen, listen. Kuno doesn't care about this small-time shit. Just listen. Kuno saw what you did there, dumpster diving. Sad shit. Kuno could hook you up with some sweet rags. Shit like Kuno's wearing. Your size, good price. 500 real.
You'd have to be blind not to notice the giant white letters, F-A-L-N, running down his trouser leg.
Look, Kuno ain't seen shit lying around, except for that up there. Now you want performance gear or not, Grandpa?
The lieutenant remains silent, but his expression couldn't say, "I told you so," any louder.
Pig, these are found modulars. Liquid fit, performance crotch, urban survival shit. Made in Mirova by scientists. Pants scientists. Believe it, you need this shit.
These could drastically improve your chances of survival in the urban wilderness. Coach Physical Instrument endorses these pants. They are tartan ready.
Alright, Pico, shit's rolling.
Don't do business with the pig, Kuno. He's gonna steal all your money, Kuno.
As you can see, Kuno and C don't trust you. Can't do business without trust.
There's more to his distrust than being a pig. He feels threatened by something obscure in you. What that is, however, remains a puzzle for now.
The fuck? A mug in the trash? Is this about the fucking clothes again? Yeah, Kuno sees where this is going. Kuno's got that fast brain. You saying you pigs are after the mug fucker, 'cause he's the clothes fucker?
I can't hear you, Kuno. Speak louder, Kuno.
Shit, that's tense. Someone's going to the beat-down basement, huh? Mug guy gonna get tied to the radiator.
The kid may have something there. He's already come up with an interrogation technique too.
Kuno doesn't know who put that shit in there. And if he did, he wouldn't squeal. But if you find out, maybe you can...
Stop turning into a pig, Kuno. They're trying to get you hooked on the snitching. Get away from my Kuno.
Yeah? Get your bacon shit away. Kuno doesn't like to be seen with the popo. Get your shit done and out of Kuno's face. No, it's not fucking Kuno's. It's ancient. Look at it.
He thinks you're fucking fool, Kuno. He says you climbed the ladder up to your magic treehouse.
Get the fuck out of here, pig. Kuno doesn't have a magic treehouse. Dunno. Kipta's gardener used to work there. Yeah, that's what Kuno said. She couldn't handle the heat, so she took off. Kuno can take it. Shit's nothing to Kuno. Look it up in the library. Kuno's not a fucking dictionary. Fucking small brain. Kuno means the gardener, alright? Look, Kuno doesn't explain shit. Kuno just says shit. Yeah, whatever. Kuno doesn't give a shit. The fuck do you want with it? Good call, Pigmeister. Don't come and talk to Kuno about his kingdom. Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Hear that? Magnesium. That's what you're lacking. The lack of magnesium has you slouched. The magnesium levels in your blood are dangerously low. It's about the low magnesium levels and not the high alcohol levels. Yes, and it's critical. Look at yourself. You're practically devolving into a fish due to the lack of magnesium in your bloodstream. You need to get so magged up. You've probably had 2 heart attacks and a minor stroke already, and the only prescription is insane amounts of magnesium. 1 stroke? Don't be so modest. He's having one right now. Yes, if you want to live, you need to evolve. You need to transcend the carbon barrier. Go to the apothecary and buy insane amounts of magnesium. It will reverse the damage to your circulatory system. Just remember, it's not the alcohol. Buy more of that too. Alcohol is not the problem. And it's certainly not the dextroamphetamine, nor smoking for 40 years. It's the lack of magnesium and excess of coffee. You should stop drinking coffee. It wreaks havoc on your gastrointestinal system. The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for a field autopsy. Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim. 3. Field autopsy. 4. Transportation of the body to the morgue. We are on number 3.
The fuck are they on about?
his shit up.
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain, from autopsy to cleanup to social work, everything. You are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now, the way I see it, it's either this, or we complete the initial interviews. We already met Evrard, that only leaves the Wild Pines representative. There's one in town, negotiating the strike. She could have information. Or we could call it a day. It's incredibly late.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them. There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity. I'll ask you when I need you to. For the most part, maybe I should handle the contact and you take notes? That's right.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with,
That's you.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings, just lies there. The next box says,
KK57-0803.0815. Next, NA. Next, NA. Roughly 50.
The corpse looks ageless, like meat on a hook, teeming with opportunistic microorganisms, letting out a foul-smelling diamine compound. Your eyes turn watery.
Mondial.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Fucky, fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
We're still going with March 4th, 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
None, at least not after the initial examination. Then again, the right lividity is easy to produce if you know what you're doing.
Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then, somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row, Lieutenant Nick Feuerbach puts his hand to the chest of a small corpse, no larger than a monkey. It's raining outside, light drizzle. There is darkness in the shed. Elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette ball-like against the window. Outside, Grand Coudon. The day is turning dim for Sergeant Mac Pearson. Hand extended, he approaches, to make sure she is dead more than anything else. The building is tall, 7 stories wind-wrapped in solitude. Most of the apartments are unoccupied. This was a suicide. The other, an accident. The small one. And so, all across Jamrock, Coal City, GRIH, 42 deceased persons found today. 42 stations of breath.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodine, I think. Let's see.
See, it's happening.
Babrodine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The boots are ceramic, vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
Patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
Tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a cargo lashing belt around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color yellow. Length 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age, about 50. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing.
The spine is bent more than the lieutenant compensated for. This buster's actual height is about 1.85. And no, you could not take him straight on.
Of course, I undercompensated. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch, wet.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs, consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose. After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow. Snap! The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck.
As it ought to. This is where its grip on the curdled meat is gentlest, pulling up.
Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour, abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
No! It's gonna happen, see!
I fucking knew it!
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
The dead man's penis is average-sized, congested from the downward collection of blood. The testicles are uneven in length, hanging underneath. The genitalia is greenish. Marbling is present around the crotch. You should touch it.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip.
Bullets have bitten little pieces out of him. It must have been excruciating, especially the hip. Before you is a temple of pain that knew little tenderness in life.
In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin. We have a real museum here. Of battles, wars. Last item, hands.
His flesh is cold, icy.
Pleased to meet you. Where are you from and what's your name? I'm only fucking with you. I know where you're from. From Cappadocia. And your name is Il Corbo. What can I do you for, Il Corbo de Cappadocia? You get me, Kobo. I feel like you were once, for tenderness and kisses yourself, but then shit went south and now you're ahead of even me on the pain front. We should do this more often. Be close like this, I mean.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from struggling. I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corpo.
I'm afraid we can't continue before we've gone through both the external and internal examination first. Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
You don't even have a joke.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable. Respiratory system.
He's really doing it. The dead man's teeth cut into his gloved hands.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen, hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his. No, you don't. You can keep it in. You can keep anything in. You manage to suppress the contractions trying to enter your stomach. All it takes is concentration. Through it, you see nothing but darkness. More meat and darkness.
There are ancient mysteries down there, Kobo. Ask me later.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary, NA. Are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. Same for toxicology and serology, NA. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal. Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 feels. Leave a 4th one too.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted. And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury? So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Right. Next. A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush. What was that about no clawing around the neck? You'd be clawing for your life. A column of cold air encircles you, rising slowly upward in the shape of a courtyard, bordered by cracked plaster, windows, seagulls perched on air conditioning units. A small green enclosure in the middle of a corral of tenements, Cape-side apartments, whirling in rags, and the fortress wall of Terminal B. Above it, a thin blanket of coastal stratus clouds. Higher yet, Coalition airships guard over the 21 cordons of the zone of control. The air is crisscrossed with radio transmissions. The hair on your neck rises.
Why do you say that? Okay. Why don't you think it was fatal? Honestly, I'm not sure there weren't marks on his wrists. That part got blurry for me. The stench. But you are right. There should be signs of struggle. Let's leave the cause of death empty for the time being. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. It was an irregular field autopsy. We did not establish cause of death, which is supposed to be the goal of an autopsy. But, personally, I do not see this as a parameter for success. We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
Oh yeah, well done, Master Detective. Maybe a drink is in order?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg. For processing.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Oh yes, Kobo mi Lobo. In the gift horse's mouth. Tracts and wakes and waterways. Ancient materials buried. Just a small gulp away, my beloved Kobo. A small gulp away. Come back later, Kobo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
man is decomposing visibly now. The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath. Your arm reaches out and your eyes close, as if by their own volition. It's dark all around. You feel cold, dead flesh through the latex glove. It's right under the palm of your hand. His face, his cheeks, his nose, his fat, swollen lips. Like a rubber spider, your gloved hand crawls on his features. Everything is silent, all around. The oral cavity is cold and moist. A ball-like tongue attaches itself to the base of the mouth, lolling around like a scallop. You're on the right track. A vision of black and dark red death, pried open by your hands and studded with teeth. Looks like he's laughing. Death fumes rising from his throat. And there, in the back of his mouth, above the bell of the uvula, right in the soft palate, you see a hole, barely visible to the human eye. It is swollen shut, almost vanished. No larger than 0.4 centimeters in radius, the edges appear darkened.
Keep going.
Kuno nods, too. He takes a step closer. A black trickle of liquid runs into his throat from the wound. Your index fits right in there. A tight tunnel of flesh opens up. Tissue damage. Wide enough for 2 fingers. As you push both in, you reach through his mouth, right into his brainstem.
The fuck is happening?
Ah, shit, see?
The basal ganglia feels clumpy. What entered here has torn apart his reptilian complex. The funk soul brother at the back of his head has gone dark forever. Your yellow fingers slide into the remains of the limbic system. There is no resistance. It's gelatinous. The slug-like structures are damaged too. The tearing extends deep into both hemispheres. Your fingers are all the way in now, reaching toward the inside of his skull. The cavity goes further, but the entry wound isn't wide enough for the rest of your hand to follow. All the muscles in your body harden. Time to enter him. Your fingers reach toward his skull. His cerebral cortex feels like jelly. Cold jelly. Strange fluid streams down your wrist as you push deeper until you feel it on the tip of your finger. Ice-cold serrated metal. Its edges cut right through the latex and into your finger. The pain is barely noticeable under the adrenaline rush. There's a tiny crack, a protrusion in the cranium, right in the back of his head. Your finger must be pointing straight at it, from the inside.
We have the makings of a very small exit wound here.
Forget about the fucking exit wound, Beano. The pig is wearing him like a fuck puppet.
Can you get to it?
You pick the object between your index and middle finger. Feels sharp, like metal. You press your teeth together. Your jaw is clenched. All you need to do is just...
My pig's fucking got it?
What? What is it?
The inside of the head feels cold and smooth, like a glove, sweat dripping down your brow. Careful not to lose the prize between your fingers. With a plop, your hand emerges from the mouth. The garden glove is covered in blood right up to the wrist. Between your fingers, a small flower, a blossom made of lead.
Fucking beautiful!
A bullet.
The bullet falls in the bag, leaving a smattering of blood on the plastic. He raises the bag under his eyes and says,
A non-calibre. Rifled. Some kind of brittle alloy. Fractured on impact. Of course, you deserve it. We need to add an item to the injury list. Injury number 4. Oval entry wound with an abrasion collar. Soft palate, back of mouth. High velocity. Temporary cavity in brain tissue. Small exit wound on the occiput. How does that sound? Opinion, fatal injury. And one last thing. We can now fill in injury number 3. Ligament mark. Opinion, non-fatal. Post-mortem. Treatment.
He's proposing the bullet was the real cause of death, and the hanging an attempt to conceal this fact.
Yes, and the belt around his neck. The hanging. Even dragging him to the yard. All of it was done after this man was already dead. I have had my doubts for a while now, since I saw there were no signs of struggle on his hands, and no claw marks on his neck. There have been other signs too, small things. We were right not to assign hanging as cause of death, as the perpetrators expected we would. No such luck for them. That's for us to find out, but this, it will make finding them just a little easier. To hide something. The real killer? The real motivation? What really happened here? Yes, we should take a closer look at it. I am certain it has more to tell us.
This little thing could reveal much about the weapon that shot it.
Oh, you really do. I am glad to hear you say that. Your room in the Whirling in Rags should come with a bathroom. Be sure to make use of it in the evening. We put him in a bag and carry him to the holding pen of my kinema. The body bag should contain the odor for the duration of the transport. I would drive him to processing, but it's too late to do that today. I'll do it first thing tomorrow. No problem. One more thing. This was really good work, detective. I thought we decided to leave it to processing. Let's not turn this into some kind of circus.
Damn it. This is turning into some sort of mega puzzle.
All right.
There go those beautiful enamel boots. May they rest in processing. Oh well, in another lifetime.
I will need a little help carrying him. You take the hands, I'll take the legs.
The bullet is safely sealed away in a plastic bag bearing the RCM stamp. Kim has filled out the label on the bag with the item number, case number, and date and location the bullet was found. Beside his orderly handwriting, the bullet looks especially sad, like a tiny, shriveled head of cauliflower.
What? Well, if I was the bullet, which I'm not, I would say, find the weapon that shot me. If we find who owns it, we will have likely found who used it, possibly to kill our victim. In conclusion, the more we know about this bullet of yours, the better.
The squashed bullet has some sharp edges where the jacket has split open. It feels cold, even through the bag. The jacket of the bullet is made of a yellowish metal. It has blossomed out to reveal a dark grey core. The base of the bullet is close to 5 millimeters in diameter. You can just about make out a few striations near the base of the bullet. Little hairlines, linear. It feels standard. It's quite destroyed. Some of the fragments are still lodged in the wound.
What can you say about the bullet so far? A jacketed bullet. Okay. It would have been shot from a military-grade breech-loading rifle, not from a muzzleloader like those typically found on the streets of Martinez.
We were right. This came from a serious weapon.
Even the RCM uses ordinary unjacketed conical bullets. This is strange. Very strange. I like this, officer. Strange means unique. Unique means incriminating. We need to find the gun that shot it.
Something tells you that won't be any time soon. This'll have to be one of those epic tasks that's open for a while. A rifle, Revolutionary period. Your bullet looks to be an old 4.46 millimeter from the surplus left over from the turn of the century. Probably an antique or a retrofitted antique. The 4.46 caliber was widely used with the Belmargrave rifle, a Revacholian manufacturer. The BM dominated the battlefields of the Insulindian theater of the anti-centennial revolution 50 years ago. No, but Zeliger, a major firearm manufacturer, ended up with a surplus after the war, so there are still a lot of these old military rifles floating around, usually broken. The quality was appalling. Antiques enthusiasts, guerrilla fighters in distant countries, a few lucky jamrock bangers. You're looking for a well-preserved antique, most likely.
What are you thinking? Bullet? Okay, and? An antique. That makes sense. There can't be many breech-loading rifles floating around in Martinez, or anywhere in Ravachol, really. I have to hand it to the monarchs. It's quite admirable that they took the advice of criminologists last century and banned the use of breech-loaders in peacetime. Some new RCM recruits get impatient with their muzzleloaders once they've trained with military-grade weapons, but they realize it's worth it in the end. Imagine if everyone, cops, citizens, had access to firearms that could shoot multiple rounds without pausing to reload. After the first shot, the second, third, and so on come much easier. But back to the investigation. Doesn't seem that likely, but we'll check out all possible leads. Next step, finding the gun itself. Okay, and? An antique. That makes sense. I have to hand it to them. Some new RCM recruits get Imagine if But back to the investigation. Mysterious. Okay. Either way, we'll know when we find the gun. We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserably cold this time of year. You should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer of the RCM shouldn't be sleeping in the street. We'll figure something out.
It's raining again. It was clear just an hour ago. Like, gone? I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, officer. Looks like I'll get mint in the ground by April. I'm a Nighthawk. What can I say?
Odd.
Of course. Where to? Wild Pines? You mean the company woman?
Yes, a representative of the harbor. She should have set up operations nearby.
Oh, that must be the woman on the giant boat. There's one docked on the pier. It arrived a couple of weeks ago. It's very hard to miss. No problem.
She's very well composed. Back straight. The worker is in a deep slumber. Perhaps he's on his way to where you just came from, into the primordial darkness. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimpled lock. It's painted blue. You immediately feel drawn to the color. Blue is for mystery. The cobalt blue surface feels rough to touch. The stainless steel door is flush with its frame on every side. Old cobalt paint, rough on the fingers. 40, 50 years since this was painted, maybe. The door does not budge.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. However, I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important investigation that also affects your business.
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleague seems more committed to drinking, and... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Good luck trying to use it.
Draconian measures.
All the locks have an electronic component. They have to be unlocked down here with a master key before your guest key will open the lock. Not until you bring me the money.
Okay, I might have something in my motor carriage we can use when you're done here.
Oh, Lieutenant, we're done here. Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes?
The worker is in a deep slumber. There is only one way to wake this bone idol from his slumber. Roar like a hurricane. Rip the buildings from the earth.
Why the yelling, man? Wait, what? I was just sleeping. What do you want, officer? Yeah, what about it? You know, people die here every day. Someone's found in a ditch, another one falls in a manhole, a third one gets eaten by stray dogs. If someone has decided to die on top of a tree, then how is it my concern? I can tell you this. Trouble's ahead.
You have a pretty solid feeling that the man's not just mouthing off. He's strong, but even he has reasons to be cautious here.
They say your guy was a killer. Your tree man. He has friends, same as him, killers. There's only one thing they know well. How to wreak havoc. You heard what I said. Draw your own conclusions. That's all I know, and I prefer to keep it this way.
The lieutenant gives you a little nod, then makes a note in his blue notebook. So Union people think he was a killer, he thinks. Even Sleepyhair. This doesn't help a lot, but it's something. Good work, detective.
That's the name of my employer. I work in logistics.
He doesn't sound too enthusiastic about this.
How's it going? Haven't you noticed what's going on outside? Good. Then you understand the gist of it. We would all be better off without the employers and their employment. For one, I can get some goddamn shut-eye. Right to sleep, I say. Thank God, no.
The worker stares at you, his eyes dry from sleep. A web of wrinkles covers his tanned forehead.
I don't know what you're talking about, kind sir, but when I'm out, then I'm really out. No corpses, no mausoleums, just quality time.
A little me time in the abyssal pelagic zone. You can never return to it now. Only detective work remains. Wakefulness and detection.
They got it. Majorette's got it. He's guarding the gate. Or just getting some sleep. Or was.
The way he says Measurehead implies ultimate trust in this head reckoner's physical prowess.
We are. The workers. The union. We know what we need. What's right for us. Okay, I guess there's also Everard. He's in charge of the union. He's smart, knows how to negotiate. He's got our back. Indeed. Help yourself to some. Wait, no. Oh, it's empty. Sorry about that, pal.
The dock worker doesn't answer. His head is already back down on the table, in sweet sleep.
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? You must be joking, right? You come here, trash everything, and now you try to pay with a novelty check? This isn't a game show. I'm not going to accept it. You owe me cold, hard money. I want to see that money in the palm of my hand. Every single cent.
Damn you, Fat Everard. Your novelty check is useless.
You can cash it in at the local frit near the harbor gates, though it might not be enough to cover it. And come to think of it, Fritz probably closed at this hour. They are open from 7 to 11.
A lot. A lot. For the room, drinks, and broken window, 130 real. Like what? I was really enjoying talking about the money you owe me.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
You can revisit the bench if you ever need to pass the time when Lieutenant Kitsuragi is gone.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes, and an RCM sticker. This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. The church looks old and weather-worn. There are no lights in the windows. Around the large wooden building, you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice.
Probably some kids.
A simple but clever solution to ruin in a coin-operated viewer. It took ingenuity. This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle while looking inside. Then use the focus knob to zoom in if necessary. This is a wall on the side of an apartment building. Just an ordinary wall, nothing to see here. Just an ordinary wall, nothing to see here.
There must be another way into the building.
Hey, up here, Piggo.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance to the apartment building. It's locked. The door rattles against your knuckles, but there's no response. The door rattles again, but this time you hear an elderly woman's voice calling out from inside.
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any strangers inside. Doesn't matter who I am. Now go on, get out of here.
From within comes the faint sound of a broom sweeping across the concrete floor.
Ha! The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible for any more strangers getting into the building. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Madame, I assure you, we are real police officers.
There is no reply. Just faint sweeping sounds inside.
There must be another way into the building.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep?
Apparently, she doesn't like people standing behind her back.
Pig's come to take me out, trying to snuff me out.
If anything, you're afraid she'll take you out one day.
Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever. Trying to sneak up on me again? Trying to snuff me out? Get away, pig!
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure? Regular people just call it the cage.
All right. Ready? I turn, you press start. It's next to the preheater.
The dashboard lights up with orange glow. The rounds per minute gauge jumps, and the engine of the Caprice Kinema comes to life with a whiny growl. Like a leopard waking from its sleep, yawning and roaring at the same time. That sound, you feel the wind in your hair as if you're already driving. But where? Down a narrow street, lined with shabby wooden houses, the 881 motor tracked, coiling like a serpent high above. Children play under the viaduct, eyes turn to watch you as you pass. The Valley of Dogs, and before it, a familiar dome, like a ladybug without the colors. The building has a designated parking place for your carriage. This is Precinct 41. As close as you have to home now. It's far away. The lights unfold with a little click, casting electrical light onto the ground before the vehicle.
There you go. I'll turn them off from the remote once you're done. We just need to stand in front of the machine now.
As you hold your ledger's clip under the headlamp, an iridescent hologram appears. A street grid and the veins of a great river. A familiar sensation washes over you.
There she is. Revachol West.
Around the borders of the watermark are dozens, no, hundreds of micro-perforations. The rectangular watermark is overlaid with the logo of the RCM, and yet The major arteries of Revachol are all recognizable. They shimmer in the Kanema's headlights. A rat brazenly darts past you and disappears amongst the stopped lorries. In the distance, a child somewhere shrieks. A woman reprimands her in a voice no quieter than the child's cry. In the middle of a broken plaza, in a cone of light, barely visible in the daytime, two men, one slim, the other sturdy. They are on the city stage, but only one of them knows his lines.
Ah, Martinez. Let me see. Right here. No, it does not.
There are many of them, and they are divided into 3 separate rows. The first row has 18 dots. The next is the longest. It runs all the way around the border, and then some. There are so many, it's hard to count. More than 150, at least, maybe even 200. The last row has 3 perforations. As you look at them, you feel your index finger reflexively contract 3 times. And something you'll do again before this is all over.
Those are perforations. They represent your record as an officer of the RCM. They are your statistics, as it were. I should have guessed you'd keep a record. Officers often do. Let's take a look.
Son, here is where we score your life performance. You better hope it's good.
The first row represents your years of service. 18 years. Okay, not bad at all. What did you do before you volunteered? That's what it says. I might have guessed even longer based on your age. What did you do all those blissful years of your youth? Maybe you were a diplomat, or in PR. Doesn't matter, I suppose. Let's move on, shall we? This next row, the one that wraps all the way around, is your number of closed cases. Closed is good. It means finished. You've got, let's see... Wow, more than 200! It's quite a lot, even for someone who's been on the force for nearly 2 decades. Usually, clearing more than 10 cases a year puts you in the 90th percentile of all RCM officers. Call it what you want. You were a valuable member of your precinct. Now, let's look at the last row.
You know the answer already. The tingle in your index finger gave it away.
That's right. How did you know? Ah, right. Sometimes the brain's able to preserve certain responses even when conscious memory has been, let's say, misplaced. For an RCM officer, especially Precinct 41, which is in the Jamrock Quarter, it's rather tame. I mean that in a good way. There are certain officers who treat their kills like some kind of ghoulish game. If they do happen to solve a case, it's usually by accident. But it seems as though you are, or at least were, one of the good ones. So we have that to be thankful for.
He's sincerely glad you're not a scary predator. Not to say relieved you're competent.
Yes. Everyone has their own method of coping, some more effective or self-destructive than others. Personally, I find it helps to keep up a few hobbies. Par exemple, why not gardening? You've already got the gloves.
The lieutenant nods.
Right. I'll go turn off the lights.
You can now see your statistics on your journal page, to the right of the task description.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone.
I have something here we could sell. Look in the back, in the suspect transport enclosure.
Transport enclosure? Regular people just call it the cage.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Just a moment, officer.
10-4, come in, officer. Over. I hear you. I don't have the authority to grant your request, but...
What does he want now?
He's asking for money.
Is he fucking kidding?
I don't think he is.
Don't give that asshole anything. He's just gonna drink it all.
Alright, that's a negative on the additional funds, sir. Over. He says it's important to the case.
He isn't getting a red cent. You can tell him that.
Request denied, sir. Over.
Nothing is working.
He says he's in trouble, doesn't have a place to sleep.
Well, I guess he'd better crack the case before sundown then.
Vigmar said... Anything else, sir? Over. Roger that, 10-10, over and out.
The cage at the back of the motor carriage looks rather uncomfortable. 4 shiny hubcaps are stacked against the seat. Their silver edges sparkle in the dark.
I confiscated these 4 a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity.
Honestly, that sounds like an amazing physics demonstration.
A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns out he was some coalition official's son and high. I took them and arrested him for driving under the influence. That they are. I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. He never asked for them back. No, that would be silly. I don't know why I kept them. It doesn't matter. I couldn't put them on this MC anyway. A cop with spinners. That would be outrageous.
He flashes a smile, barely visible in the dark.
As I said, they are useless anyway. I should have remembered I have these earlier. Yes, there's one 100 meters south of here. I think it's called Roy's Nest or something. If I'm not mistaken, it should be open late.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab. You can pawn these items when talking to Roy.
The lieutenant nods as you take the spinners. A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small metal plaque. This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hear a soft clunk. Then, nothing happens. A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get across the canal. Some other way. Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning? You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Try to find something pretty and cool here, then use it to win her back. Yes, buy something nice. A figurine. Big men on big horses, clad in lamella armor and carrying flintlocks, the kind that would mow down a line of enemy soldiers in the blink of an eye.
Franco-Nigerian knights. I used to be very serious about these guys.
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps, complemented by orange trousers. They are variously posed, wielding swords and rifles with bayonets.
Which ones? Ah, those. Yes, they are. I find the paint job a bit gaudy, but children like the bright colours indiscriminately.
This set of soldiers isn't meant to look impressive. A few have rifles, but most of them carry pistols. Some even shovels and tall sticks.
You're probably talking about the revolutionaries, yes? Yes, they are soldiers, revolutionary soldiers. I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain priced. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and table lamps. The light pole has been carefully cut, and the wiring has been redone and attached to a standard indoor plug. The light buzzes faintly, but persistently.
Yes, officer. As you see, it's in perfect working order.
His manner is casual, but his speech is careful, measured. He wants you to know that he has nothing to hide.
It was brought to me to be altered.
We are not here to investigate the theft of city property. You have to admit it's rather clever what he's done with it.
700 real. A bargain, I dare say.
A bargain? No, it's not. He's trying to sweet-talk you into buying trash.
There's also the matter of rewiring, but the most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a few days ago. If you don't mind, please put the flashlight away. Some of us have photonic sensitivities. I do appreciate it.
It's the ledger you found in the trash. A cabbage of papers hanging from the board, with the permeables drawer inside. It's proving to be harder than expected. You just don't have the intellectual rigor to patch the quilt back together. Try again later. The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen mag someone has scribbled. You'll find the filament memory with the... It's just a racist mug. What's there to read here? But it will not happen. The mug talk.
It's not often that I see officers from the RCM in my pawn shop. What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
I haven't had any problems myself, though some of my customers have complained about inconsistent law enforcement.
Who are your customers usually?
All kinds of people come through here. Locals, travelers, people looking for a deal, people looking for a keepsake, people who are terminally bored. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me entertained.
He's well composed, but underneath it you sense psychedelic processes bubbling. Some kind of drug, maybe. Entertained? He might be high. If he is, on what? Feeling warm and enthralled by the movement of light, while the mind continues to race forward. Lucky bastard. He's probably on Perolidon. It's tough to come by on the street. A drug developed by the military to treat and prevent radiation sickness. It has psychedelic side effects, and it makes your eyes turn yellow.
I try to keep the shop at a comfortable temperature. I've had to take it, you know, since the People's Pile cleanup. I was with the Emergency Relief Brigade.
He's taken it for mental and emotional, not physical pain these days.
A bad idea. Some poor leftist built a particle decay generator in hopes of bringing affordable electricity to underserved communities. It malfunctioned. Radioactive waste everywhere. Probably some of it in you too. We were an all-volunteer force, self-organized, tried to help the fire brigades contain the spill.
On the patch, gamma radiation lines crossed with a red drop of blood. Tough son of a gun, this one. Respect.
I lived by the river since I was a small boy. The Esperance. Didn't have the heart to let it all go to shit without trying to do something to help out. There wasn't much the volunteer force could do, however. We wasted years in the river mud, years getting sick. There's a reason why everyone's tried to forget any of it ever happened, and why no one has tried to repair or replace the pile. So much disappointment and early deaths, cancer mostly. And we knew all that was coming even as we were cleaning up as best we could. No one's, everyone's.
So much bitterness.
A bunch of poor people built themselves a primitive nuclear reactor, hoping for the best. What do you think is going to happen? The cleanup happened 15 years ago. I was young then. Later, my second aunt died. Left me this shack and all the assorted junk in it. So I came to Martinez. People told me don't go there. It's a shithole. I said, people, we just had a nuclear pile meltdown. I'm gonna get as far away from Forburg as I can. Still in the same city, but I like the theory more than the story. Outward movement, not vortices.
Yeah, you gotta get in on those vortices, my man.
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
What? Sold? The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another. Alert.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off-the-charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind. She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the Citizens Militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? You're right that she could cast aspersions on the Force. We have to find her.
My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it right now. You'll just have to hope Everett wasn't lying, and the Union can track her down in time.
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday, looking like they'd just taken off their Wild Pines overalls. They asked if I have a police weapon to sell. I told them I already sold it. They went their way. It was a trip, but you know, all sorts of people come here, asking for all sorts of things.
Wait, then it might be true. Everett's claims.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
Of course. I doubt it, but I can try and answer any questions you may have. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butchery. Bad for business, bad for everyone.
No one likes to see what you have to see every day.
Can't say I'm a huge admirer of Wild Pines. and I can't say I trust any silver-tongued spokesperson of theirs. Fortunately, I have no reason to get involved. What should I have for it? No, just people like that make everyone else see the world somewhat askew, at an angle that is convenient for them. Now, you have more questions, or are we?
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing colors.
Yes, we'd like to sell these hubcaps.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and inspects them. The spinners appear iridescent in the dancing light of his pawn shop. Gone forever.
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for them? Jump a mesk banger? No matter. I'll give you 200 real.
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course, I meant no offense. 200 real for you, officer. Delightful doing business with you. Do come again.
Thank you. Here's the 130 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved. This is you. Golden orange. A sunset suite. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres. Even though I don't really like music. If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape.
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
die before I squeal, pig. What's this kid shit? Fucking mind games. I'd rather die than squeal.
Get the fuck out of here, face. You got done. Talk to me.
So it's a girl. Interesting.
I'll die before I squeal, pig. I come from the woods, Gutta Vittu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatizing here. Get the fuck out of here.
I'll die before I squeal, pig. Murder was the case they gave me. I'll die before I squeal, pig. You don't want to fuck with me. I got my hands bloody. I'm not here, pig. You're not seeing this.
You can still see the top of her hat from behind the fence.
Necromancer, pig. That shit was dark. Going in there like that. Oh, brutal shit. Tell me, Kuno dies. You're gonna pick one out of his brain like that too? Kuno's gonna go out in a hail of bullets. Gonna look like a fucking porcupine.
He's on your crime scene, bossing you around. And he's been here for some time too. This is where he hangs out. You have to get more out of him. He could be useful.
Fuck no! What are you? Fucking mentally handicapped?
Kuno, they've almost made you a snitch now.
Ease off, see? Kuno always takes the bullet over the hammer. Kuno doesn't fucking care.